Thanks, sir. Appreciate it. Okay. All right. So I was already up here once, so you know who I am. But we're going to be talking a little bit today, just about my opportunity here is to. I'm not sure what happened down there, but to trigger some thoughts for you guys to take away and do a little additional research on some other companies that you may want to emulate and think about trying to challenge the way that you're thinking with your business and how you're engaging with your customers. So, in general, one of the things that we have in our business is we have a DNA that has gone back 50 years. We have agencies and pharma companies, and agencies are always challenging pharma companies to think different. And I use this example here, but I say, when you first meet somebody, when I first met my wife, and you talk to friends who are meeting and dating, you always say to yourself, you can't change the person. You try to find someone that you love them for who they are, and it's the worst thing to do to try to change who you are for somebody else. But I think in our industry right now, we actually have to change who we are a little bit. We have to step out of that natural phenomenon of being who we are and having people accept us for who we are. And we have to say to ourselves, there's some things that we have to start doing differently in order to catch up to where our customers already are. And I think some of your presentations today have already hit that, and I think we all know that. So the opportunity here today is to bring you through just some thoughts as to how you can get closer to that and maybe how you can start to help educate some of your internal audiences to think different. We all know this. Many of the vendors in the room, many of the big pharma people in the rooms, mid, small size pharma, you have your own ways of presenting this. You can use this slide in your presentations or steal from it however you want. But the opportunity here, really what I wanted to say was the things that we have to focus on. There are four intersections of digital transformation. Trying to keep it really simple. Really, typically the human brain can only take about 3 major things at one point. I have 4 down here because I think it's really important. You have customer experience, but it's really focused on the patient, because in the end, our customer could be a physician, could be a managed access company, it could be a supply chain organization, whatever it might be, but in the end, we're all selling to the patient. And that's the person that we really have to focus on. And how do we transform the way we think digitally to hit that person? I'll keep moving through this. There's business models, operational efficiencies, and I think we talked this morning earlier, Erin was talking about this during our panel discussion, the back end of everything that we do. Typically, the commercial marketing folks and the strategy folks thought about the externally facing customers, and we went after them. But now we have to really educate ourselves. This is going back to our earlier discussion. How do we start to think a little bit more on the back end and engage our IT organizations and the other groups that help build the mechanism for us to get our information out to our customers? So that's a new piece that really, really needs to be at the forefront of how we think. Now, the next part is what drives a best-in-class patient experience. And I think there's really just 2 things. And the first one is gaining a substantial competitive advantage through digital transformation. Now, it all depends on where your company is and where the comfort level of your company is. I mean, that's the big part. I know whenever I've worked in pharma, your success is based off of the people, frankly, reviewing what you're doing. Right? And it's also your ability to know what your gross to net is. And that's another thing that I think I'll challenge you all to start to think about. It's not in this presentation, but as marketers, we need to understand the tactics that we put forward and the implications it has on gross to net. If you push a lot of patients towards your copay card, because you say, I got more patients on therapy, but now you just lost 25% of your business because you drove your gross to net down because those patients would have been on anyway without a copay card. So there's a lot of different things that you have to start to think about a little bit. You have to think about that because some people can afford it, their insurance is better, but you're going to be driving it down. So you have to think a little bit differently. Change must affect everyone in the organization and redefine how things are done. I think I'm not going to beat this horse to death, but it's true. We have to make sure we start educating, and really, if you visualize yourself walking down the hallway and having a 10-foot by 10-foot circumference around you, you are your own culture. When you walk down there, you want to show people who you are by being a certain way and exuding a certain confidence. And having that confidence and talking about, listen, we need to take these steps forward for us to be successful. It's not just to do that. It's if we don't do it, we're going to have a problem and less patients are going to benefit from our medicine. That's helped me help my most difficult reviewers and legal people and regulatory people understand that, guys, listen, forget about the fact that we may be losing 10% of our net sales on this. That's not important. We may be losing 500 or 5,000 patients who could benefit from this medicine if we don't find a way to get it out in this way, and this is the way that they learn. So there's ways of articulating the story to your internal audiences that's really important for them to understand. Now, I'm going to go through 3 specific examples, and I ask you to please do some research on Google afterwards and learn a little bit more about some of these companies. We know about them. Everybody's tried a $9 cup of coffee from Starbucks, right? I mean, it's crazy. I learned on the CNBC episode that their last 45 seconds or so of their process is they burn the beans to make it taste more aggressive caffeine-wise, but actually it's the same amount of caffeine that Dunkin' Donuts has. So it's all marketing. So I'm not going to read through all this, but I highlighted it and I'll go through it. They have 32,000 stores at the time of this article in 80 countries, and they digitally transformed their company in 2017. How crazy is that? We are still trying to digitally transform 4 years after COVID. They did it before because they knew they had to. It's really important. That's a really important piece. Now, what they did was they transformed through rewards, personalization, payments, and order based on customer feedback. They all made it around the patient, or excuse me, around the customer. When you walk into a store, it wasn't an online situation. You walked into a store, what do? They write your name down on the cup. They call out your name. Hey, Rob. Some people don't want it. They give a funny name, whatever it is, and you have to learn what cafe macchiato, blah, 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 whatever you want, whatever it's called versus a medium coffee. They make it a fun experience, and they engage you very deeply in these ways. They give you rewards, something they did 7, 8 years ago. So what's crazy about the 2017 stat for me is that they thought of that probably in 2015, 2016. Just like when you make a movie comes out this year, it actually was conceptualized 3 years ago. So that idea, those insights were a long time ago. We're way behind. Outside of not just the technology, they personalize their product offerings that we mentioned and offer rewards based on customer preferences. And anybody go to McDonald's? I have McDonald's in my town. My kids, I have Happy Meals. Daddy Daycare is Happy Meals. That's when it was more crazy. So they have this reward system now, and their reward system is completely based off of what Starbucks did almost a decade ago. So Starbucks is the mover and shaker in this space. So the key is, now this is the Don Draper moment from Mad Men, right? Really, Starbucks is for me. When you walk in, you feel, okay, I'm getting this for me. There's a feeling. There has to be that same feeling with our pharmaceutical brands as well, too. When you take a medicine, I have a cousin. He wouldn't mind talking about this. He's on a medicine that helps him with multiple sclerosis. And the medicine was moved off of his formulary, and he had to take a generic. He actually felt, and I actually was the marketer at the time when it happened to him, he told me that he felt like he lost a family member when he was off that medicine. And he finally got back on it 3 months later after fighting for it, and the doctor saying he failed on the other medicine got to it. But that's how he felt, right? So there's a feeling. It's a real thing that people go through, and that's what this company understood very early on, and this is how they made that operate. The next one, Chick-fil-A. Not only do they have great nuggets, I would challenge you to have a nugget with some of the with pickle slices. My kids turned me on to that. One nugget with a pickle slice is really good. It sounds weird, but my kids like it. Now I love it. I don't know why. It's my way of not having sauce, I think, right? So they go the extra mile for providing exceptional hospitality. Have you ever been to Chick-fil-A? Have you gone there with like a long line and you have people like walking out to the car and smiling and treating you like they've known you for 100 years? That's rare. That doesn't exist anymore. Like we can't even talk to each other. We talk to each other online, but when we see each other in person, everyone puts their head down. They get really introverted unless there's a video on their phone in the front of their face. These guys have completely beat that down. They've gone back to the traditional way of communicating. Now, this brand is committed to providing services common in a quick service restaurant. So if you saw the McDonald's movie with Michael Keaton about Ray Kroc, I forget the name of the movie, but it's a great movie about how McDonald's and how Ray Kroc kind of got in there and took the business away from the two guys that really started it, the two brothers. They made it about a personalized service, the very basics of how to make the food, what to say, and getting people to sit down outside and keeping it very clean. It was just 4 or 5 basic principles. That's what Chick-fil-A is bringing back. They're keeping it very simple. And I think in pharma, how we can relate this to what we do, you might have 15 tactics on one strategy, but you're completely off strategy because nobody can follow 15 tactics. It's like 2 or 3 things that actually matter. And that's the key. They even allowed their franchise owners to get creative, and this is pretty cool. They allow a free bag of nuggets, chicken nuggets for dogs or cats or whoever. I guess I don't know if cats eat nuggets, but they might. Right? It's kind of neat. It empowers their owners. How can we empower our physicians to make the product a little bit more interesting to the patient? And we could probably do that through our websites. Our websites look like the old Bell telephone books. We have 1,000 pages that nobody can find anything on unless you work on the agency that made it or the PRA person that's reviewed it 6,000 times. The patients take forever to find it. And then we have to pay an arm and a leg on Google just to get to those pages. How do we make it much more simple? Simple. Right? Now, what they're known for is when you walk in Chick-fil-A, regardless of how you feel, they're closed on Sundays. They have a whole religious community that goes there just because they're closed on Sundays for that purpose. They have a whole other community of people that like the fact that people come out and talk to them. They're very, very different. It's a very warm feeling. No matter who you are, no matter what you feel warm when you come out of Chick-fil-A, or you go there and you get the food. Hospitality, it's uncommon, and the owners lead. So people want to buy into it. Plus it costs, I think it's like 10 or 20,000 bucks to get into the franchise. I think it's that low, I swear to you. It's that low to get in. And there's a line of thousands of people that want to get it, so they make it easy for entry. FedEx, the second most popular B2B. What's the first most popular B2B? Come on. You want to order something, you get it in 3 seconds. Where do you get it from? Isn't that a joke? I mean, how many times my wife and I go for Christmas decorations at Lowe's, and I'm sitting at Lowe's and I'm looking at oh my God, I go right on Amazon, I order it while we're in Lowe's, and we leave with nothing from Lowe's but 6 things from Amazon, and it gets there the next morning, and I save 75 bucks. So it's incredible. Like, I just screwed over Lowe's, and imagine what's happening to the little shop, right? FedEx is a very unique company. They connect people. That's what they really, really focused on, tradition and connecting people. And we really can use this. It's the second most trusted American B2B company. The third is Johnson & Johnson. That's a major pharma company, but it's not really pharma. That's why, right? J&J, now it's split and there's all this changes, but the concept of J&J was it was an everything health company. I'm surprised they didn't start buying restaurants. All right? So they prioritize relevance over frequency, improving customer satisfaction, best-in-class shipping. We all know that. They have the colors are really important. If you look at the market research behind the colors, it makes a huge difference. My sons, when they see the UPS truck, they said, "Oh, the UPS truck is coming." They say, but the colors of the UPS truck, they notice it less. And that isn't part of the market research because it's a darker color, and typically it's driving on a darker background. Just like when you buy a darker car, you have a higher propensity of having an accident versus a white car because people can see it. Right? That's just basic human nature. You can see things. Your eyes move only so fast. They value customer feedback and are always open to suggestions. I think everybody can say that. But the last one is this, and I think this was huge. And I don't have the date in there, but on their 50th anniversary, they pledged to help 50 million people by their 50th anniversary and showcase that on social media. Really, you can play with the marketing on that and say by their 50th anniversary, you had 50 million people, and they can figure out how they got to that number. But think about that. If you're a consumer and you're trying to choose who to use, and they say, listen, we pledge we're going to help 50 million people get information and product to their homes in a seamless way, make it simple for them, and we actually did that. Keep using us. Don't use UPS. I'm just kidding. Or your typical UPS. Is that the sound you were talking about there? The sound that keeps coming through? That one didn't sound like a horse. That sounded like another type of animal. You said it sounded like a horse. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, so FedEx is very different. They're everywhere for everyone. That's what they want to be. They're connected. They're efficient. They're a tradition. Now, the whole point for doing this the way that I did that was there were 3 different components. Again, I said up front, there are 3 elements in the human brain, 3 major elements the human brain can take at a certain time. There needs to be 3 categories: feelings, behaviors, representations, not business objectives. That's different, that you want your customer to think about when they see your brand. Now, how are we as a business going to get into this position to think like these guys? The KISS principle. What's the KISS principle? Keep it simple, right? I could put the other S at the end. Keep it simple, stupid, right? That's how the book came out, but I kept it professional, right? KISS principle, right? Stakeholder management, early and often. I'm telling you, Aaron made that. Where is he still in the room? I'm not sure if he's here or not, but that up front, he talked about the IT component and building the back end. Everything we do now has a digital component. Make sure your legal people, your regulatory people are engaged up front. It seems fearful sometimes to say, all right, I'm going to engage these guys up front, but they might shut my idea down before I even bring it up to get there. That's okay, because imagine if you take 5 months to get to this point, you're promising your boss it's going somewhere, and then boom, they cut you off at the knees. And it happens, and they're doing it not to hurt you. They're trying to help the company. So engage them up front, right? Engage them. And talk to your agencies to empower you, because you're hiring people and you're paying them to tell you how to think. And that's a beautiful thing, and they can actually give you that information. So, and if you're an agency person, think about how you can empower your commercial marketing folks or vendor folks. Business cases, if you can't measure it, don't do it. That's happening a lot. I've sat at a C-suite position. I was a chief of staff numerous times. I'm telling you something now. When you sit down for your AOP, I'm not sure what you call it, your yearly planning, whatever company you're with, you call it differently. If you can't measure it, I'm telling you something, you're going to start cutting it. Budgets are going down dramatically. Less people are doing more hours of work. You all know it. You're dealing with it right now. You're thinking about the email you need to get to after these 2 presentations are done. I get it, right? And if you're a manager of people, try to put a block on their calendar at least 3 days a week for an hour and say you can't have meetings. They'll love you for it. Plus, it gives them the ability to say no to other people because you put it on their calendars. That's just some insight. I do that all the time. Tactics fail when they're reactive. I'm a sales guy in my DNA. I grew up in the sales organization, but stop listening to them all the time they want something. Just because 3 people in a 500 sales force want something doesn't mean it's the right thing. Because now you're making 15 assets that start. If you made it for California area, it always finds its way to Jersey. And if you made it for Jersey, it finds its way to Nebraska. And now they're all off strategy because it's not segmented to their area. So be careful. Make sure you present your insights. And the way to fight back against your national sales directors who are saying, I need this stuff, you say, listen, our insights through the millions of dollars of market research that we found has said this is the behavior that changes. We need you to change your sales behavior versus giving you more stuff you can't use. Right? So just you can continue to refine your tactics. Don't make new stuff, refine it. Because your strategy shouldn't change. When I was at a big company, I won't name which one it is because you probably can look me up. It's a couple companies. I'll just say it was one of them. They changed their strategy on a multi-billion-dollar product, which I got from 250 net sales up to 1.3 billion net sales in about 18 months. They changed their strategy 6 times in 3 years. Every 6 months they changed their strategy. Salesforce didn't have a clue what the hell to do. Their customers didn't know what the heck you were selling. The company was all over the place, and they were then conditioned to change strategy because they thought it was the right thing to do. I came in, almost lost my job 3 times because I didn't change a damn thing. Even though I didn't think it was the right strategy, we stayed consistent. Our customers knew what we represented. Those 3 components, whatever they were for that product or products, they understood it. Right? So stay consistent. That's important. And let your insights drive your thinking. Don't be reactive. Holistic mindset. I'm almost done. 1 or 2 more slides here. Holistic mindset. So holistic means what? Anybody? There you go. That was the horse. That sounded like a horse. You were right. That one sounded like a horse. You're absolutely right. That one did. So holistic. Well, just throw out just a couple. What's holistic mean to you guys? Yell it out. I know it's getting towards the end of the day. All inclusive. There you go. Everybody. Holistic. Anything else? Yep. There you go. All encompassing. Holistic mindset is you're not siloed. And in every company, I can guarantee you're all siloed. And we all talk about you can't stop being siloed, but you're all siloed. Because people change jobs every 12 to 18 months because that's how you get promoted, right? So you have to stay siloed to do on your project and say you did a good job and you go to your next thing. But how do you step out of your silo? You have a holistic mindset. And that holistic mindset allows you to start earlier in your process, engaging the right people, and it'll show leadership qualities too, and you can get promoted quicker because holistic-minded people are the ones that are running the company, not the channel people. Remember that. That's huge, huge. And I'll go back to that one before I finish that I think that's important. I've sat in meetings as a chief of staff with people who talk nothing about product but massive ideas. We could have an entire respiratory portfolio where 3 were dogs and the other one was doing really well, and you had this really good one that had an opportunity. They didn't talk about the product once. You know what they talked about? They talked about what if we sold this entire business unit, or what if we bought this building over here and then we applied it with it had nothing to do with the business at all that you would think it would have to do with. But everything they talked about had implications at a higher level that allowed opportunities for you to make decisions as marketers. So that holistic, you're training yourself to think bigger, to go into a room and see the reality, not the forest of the trees, you're seeing right over the forest. And you can see the reality on the horizon. That's the thought process for holistic. So I'll stop there because I know you guys, I don't want to stand in between you, your last presentation, and your food, and she's still getting ready. But if there are any questions, I'll take the questions now. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Rob. Let's give him a round of applause. That was nicely done. Any quick questions for Rob on the concept of sort of exploring the digital transformation journey, or does anybody want to kind of share any of their perspectives that they've encountered? No. All right. I guess we're pretty much. We're making good time then. All right. Well, thanks again, Rob.
Thank you, everybody.
It's great to have you join us, and appreciate the perspectives.